And good morning. It's Sunday, November 24th, here in Ontario, Canada. I am with Andy Martens from Sault Ste. Marie, Canada, um, with our special guest, Sheena Alexandra. And this is a repeat today. This is part two of Sheena Alexandra from London, UK. I just had a brother that got married in the UK, so I feel like now I'm part of the UK because my sister-in-law is going to be coming from there to live in Ontario. This happened quick, but we all know when things happen quick, we got to be ready for it, right? So life is short. But anyways, Andy and Sheena, welcome to our podcast with Molly and me. Molly is my emotional support dog going through parental alienation, and 47 years of domestic abuse has really taken a toll on my heart, my whole mind, my body, and my soul. But I'm still here to fight for everybody because that's how I survive. And if we have other parents out there that are willing to help others to heal, that is the best part of what we do as advocates. And we become more in tune to other people that had lost their children through the family court system. Parent alienation is child psychological abuse, and our children are growing up to repeat. Andy, who better to know? I mean, you just recently became a grandfather, and you stopped it. You nipped it in the butt really quick, but it took health issues to do that for you, right? Your wife being sick.
I've been with the same woman for 40 years, and she realized it was the wrong thing to do. It happened because I wouldn't do something for my son, and he retaliated, but we stopped it in its tracks within 3 months. And so he was just here. He now lives in North Dakota in the United States, which is 11 hours away from where I am in the tip of Michigan. And we stopped in his tracks, and I got to see my granddaughter. And it's
Nice.
there, but everybody is not as lucky as I am. If you've been with the same woman, the other parent is on board of what's happening, can stop it for you. And that's exactly what happened. He's
Right.
really close to his mother, and his mother said, "No, you're not doing this anymore." And then, then it was erased. So you gotta be. It happens so fast that you don't know. You don't know what your head spins, because that's what I'm sure a lot of people are up against. There's it'll it'll rock your world, and you say, "What happened here?" It comes up so fast.
Sure does. And I don't know about you two, but when it happened to me, I turned into a grizzly bear of emotions. I remember when it first happened to me, I screamed at the top of my lungs and was biting my pillow and stomping it. And I just couldn't believe that my ex husband and the court system was doing this. And I have obviously gotten through the worst of it, but
And the court system. Sorry.
I mean, we have a problem here on the planet. We have a big problem on the planet, and that's what I have dedicated my life, is to dissect what this problem is and give people the solutions to avoid this very traumatic life that we're living in. Losing your child to parental alienation is probably worse than a death, because at least with a death, you heal and you move on. And even though it's a very difficult process, you have closure. Whereas parental alienation, you don't have closure. You grieve a child that is still already alive. And on top of that, you have the burden knowing that the mental and emotional abuse that's happening to your child is 10 times worse because they are a child and they don't know what's going on. And I think Andy said this at the beginning, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know that abuse is prevalent, but it is. And I'm here to share the very sullen news that we do have a situation here on the planet that we need to understand, address, and avoid at all costs. And that's what I hope to do today, is to just use my credibility as an investigative journalist, which is what I started to do after the horrible trauma that I had through this parental alienation and all the time that I spent on my own. I was in a foreign country with no friends or connection, and I had to sit on my own and figure this out. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I can share with other people. But most parents don't know that this even happens. And if they did, they wouldn't have the time to research, to study, to just learn your rights. And so that's what I do as a common law sheriff. I've got my little badge here, and I have done all the hard work so parents and people around the world don't have to. So I hope my knowledge comes today with welcome arms, and I don't ruffle too many feathers.
Well, thank you so much for, coming back to Let's Talk, Real Talk on Parental Alienation. And, it is a psychological abuse that our children are facing for lifetime. And have you run into children that turned adult? And if you have, do you know their characters? Can you see that they're traumatized by something?
Well, I have seen coaches who have healed themselves from parental alienation. And I have spoken to grandparents and other people, but I haven't seen or spoken to a child that has been alienated from their parent. But I have spoken to so many parents that this has happened to. I mean, where women, we're being targeted, but men are also being targeted. It's a horrible situation, and it's because we are dealing with two key components here, which is narcissism and the court system. And I would like to share a little bit more about what I know about these two components of our reality, which, once again, I was never told about narcissism. I was never told about the court system. I was never really told about my rights. And, we don't know what we don't know. And there is a lot to know here in this reality. So,
and a lot of us, sorry, I don't want to cut you off there. A lot of us have lived it. It's experience, right? Knowledge. And now we have wisdom to share to people out there that, yes, this is real. It's really happening to you, and get out of it. Unless they go for help right away. But to go to therapy with a narcissist, that could, backfire on you, because now they're learning how to manipulate the therapist. They've gotten the children to the point to think like them. So now the children are going to that same therapist, telling the same thing. We got to educate therapists out there too, as well as, all the family court people. There's a lot of court reporters out there and people that do the transcripts that know they're hiding stuff.
Yeah.
And they're being paid to hide it. So what they're doing is they're basically allowing the abuse to happen as well. And to have that on your conscience.
Yes.
Going home to hug your own child, knowing that, oh, that judge just took away a good mom or a good dad and grandparents.
Yes.
How do I live with this? They're suffering now, right? And they need to come forward. I was grateful. This is what happened to me. A court reporter came forward and gave me my transcripts in 2009 after being alienated for 4 years. I got taken back. They were suing me for money. So I asked the court, can I have my transcripts to see what I went to court for? How much did I pay? Cost me over $1 million.
Wow.
And it's been going on for 18 years. This
Yeah.
is the court system is allowing this to happen. They're
Yes.
dragging us through the court system,
Yeah.
and the thousands, they're making money off of us.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
why we're there.
Yeah.
And we need to expose this. I mean, Andy and I did a thing with the Attorney General just quickly. We were scripted to say whatever they wanted us to say, so he could, say all this BS. But we know we can catch on. So I'm using our knowledge and our education resources that we use on Let's Talk Real Talk as well, because this is the truth. This is where everything comes and puts down into the laps of our judicial system and our politicians. It's up to our politicians to stop this.
No,
And it
actually,
only-
Mary, this goes well beyond our politicians. And this is where we're going to come into information right now that might ruffle your feathers.
okay,
it
you
might-
go
for
ahead.
the
I'm
audience-
listening.
For the audience, you might go into shock. I went into 2 weeks of shock when I learned about this situation. And as I got more clear with what we're dealing with, that's when I started to speak out. So what I'm telling you now, I have been speaking out publicly for over 6 years. In addition, there's millions of people also speaking out to help people like you understand the reality of this situation. And Mary, I'm going to go back to you because you are saying the exact words that we need to resonate with and just really sit with. When you hear that the judge has done this to you, like it's done, the female judge looked at me and told me to get mental help. She extended the AVO, the false AVO, for another year for no reason at all. When we go into the court system and our jaws drop at what has just happened, we need to sit with our stomach and realize what just happened. And what I want to do is I want to raise the perception of people right now and understand what's going on here on the planet. We need to raise our frequency and stop being involved in this situation and see it from a higher perspective. Because it's only when we see this from a higher perspective that we start to make brand new decisions and we walk into brand new paths forward. And that is the only solution. We do not have anybody coming to save us in this situation. No president is coming to change this. No figure called Jesus or Mohammed is coming to save us. We need to understand what the war on humanity is. And we do have a war here on the planet. It is very similar to a war like, when America went to Iran or Iraq, or when you understand what war is, it's one country fighting another country. There's killing that happens. There's two sides that appear. There's a good guy and a bad guy. What we need to understand is that if that type of war between countries can happen and innocent people are dying because a family in, let's say, Iraq, they're not the enemy, they shouldn't die, but just because Iraq is so quote unquote an enemy, we're going to have bombs on that territory. That war is no different than the war on humanity, which is the war on us. We need to understand that we have a power pyramid here on the planet, which comprises of the Pope, secret societies, upper echelons of government, the CIA. We have a pyramid of power, and it really is an us against them situation. And
Yes.
at the heart of this war is the court system, is the statutory law that we all volunteer ourselves to use. And we have statutory acts that we obey. And we vote in our presidents, which is voluntary. We are all participating in this illusion that the power pyramid has set up, which involves the court system, the medical system, the education system, all of mainstream media, all of science. The power pyramid comprises of knowledge at the top and lies at the bottom, and a different class system. We have got, I don't want to talk about the religious people behind this, but there is a group called, starts with the letter Z. And when you understand what's behind the letter Z and their class structure, it's an us against them scenario. So when you look into politics, when you look into government, when you look into the teachers at the schools and the mainstream media actors and all the people that are playing inside this reality, inside this matrix, they all know about the war going on between us and them. We as the them are under attack. And this war has been going on for thousands of years. The enemy has wanted to conquer this planet and is doing an amazing job at what their goals are, because they have used poisons in the sky and in the food and in our
The
environment.
chemical warfare.
Chemical warfare, no,
Yes.
intellectual warfare. If we knew what the court system was really all about, we would never, ever use it. If we
Right.
knew what the education system was about, if we knew what the medical system was about, if we knew what mainstream media was all about, we would not even participate.
But that's it.
And that's what our answer is not participate. And
Right.
our answer is also to understand what this war is all about. And this war is about us and them. And the them, which is us, we are nuking it out between us. We are nuking it out. The husband and wife are nuking it out. The police and the driver are nuking it out. The lawyer and the person that they rep. We're all paying money for these people through contracts. And the only people that are benefiting from the dispute resolution or the management of the humans, which is what the cops do, they're all corporations. They're all making money. There is no justice in the justice system, just like there are no, the laws are for the lawless. The whole notion of the statutory system are for the slaves on the planet, the lawless people that are on the planet. The education system, which is dumbing down the kids, are for the masses, not for the elite.
Right.
The medical system is specifically designed to keep us sick so they can generate money. And mainstream media is the puppeteers that are walking consciousness, which is what we are. We are all consciousness. But everything that you watch and everything that you believe on TV and everything that you learn about in school and read about on the paper, we're creating. And they know how this reality works. So they're using dark magic against us. We need to understand what this fear-based mind control system is, how it's using fear against us. And the only solution is to walk away from the systems, which you can very clearly identify: medicine, education system, justice system, the marriage system. I mean, we can go on and on about all the systems that we need to avoid, but we also need to understand that we need to start to avoid people here on the planet. Narcissistic people do not have the same DNA as us.
No.
They don't. just like there are a lot of people that we call them NPCs. They're just empty souls, empty vessels. They're not like us. Most of the time, people who have been impacted by parental alienation, they're empaths. They care. They've got a light inside of them. And what happens is they come into contact with a narcissist, and that narcissist sucks all the light out of them, and they fight and they argue. And then when they go to the divorce, they go through the system, which is designed to break them up. And so we have a breakup, which isn't fair or even. We have parental alienation that happens, and we have all kinds of chaos now, and trauma, and kids not seeing their parents, and people in jail for no reason, and molesters getting away for, for free men and women.
Judges, lawyers, it's all these
Lawyers getting
professionals.
paid under the table. None of this is right. And when you feel it in your stomach, you're thinking, how can this be? It's because we've been conned to believe that it's right, that it's
That's
true,
right.
that it's just. And then what we need to realize is that our enemy's motto is by way of deception. How did they deceive a whole population? How come
But
every single court system is like this? It's been happening for centuries.
they've been breaking good parents down. That's how. They've been stealing their homes, their assets. I mean, I lost $1 million home. I got $8,000 for it. But right away, the courts take $15,000 out of it before I could walk into a courtroom. The judge even said, you do not come into my courtroom until you pay that $15,000.
Yeah. It's a for-profit
It's
business.
on paper. It's on paper.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a
wow,
for-
but left me homeless.
I mean, Mary, if you understood the game going on, I mean, we go into the court system and it's a back and forth of lawyers playing a game, not knowing, we not knowing that they're playing chess and we're playing checkers.
Well,
And
I knew I was helping people for 20 years before that. I found my ex-husband's father after 25 years.
Yeah.
He never saw him. So I went through all these court things to help people back then with the military. That was my job, to put families together.
Yeah.
So I knew what was happening. I tried to stop it. And when I went into the courtroom, I pointed it out to the judge, but he erased it from the court transcripts. ... I highly promote, transcripts to be in your hands, because you could see what the judges are putting out there. And if you see a ... you've been deleted.
Yeah.
So when I told the judge everything that was the truth 19 years ago, to me telling this on national, whatever I am, this podcast that goes worldwide, you could see it. The evidence is there. I got the court transcripts, and I'm so grateful for the one person that said, hey, she got treated unfairly. You told her husband was a conniving, scheming, manipulative liar, but he gets the house and kids knowing that he set her up. This is what's, behind the scenes.
Yes.
But on paper, they make it different and say, well, if you want to tell me that he's a manipulative, conniving liar to my lawyer, well, that's your job to prove it. Well, you just said it.
Yeah.
So why are you hiding it now?
Yeah.
Right? So this is what we got to understand. Nothing but lies will be thrown at us if we enter that family courtroom.
Yeah.
But the narcissistic personality relies on that courtroom because they have no backbone to do anything else.
That's right.
They will never say, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's drop the case. I had to do it. And when I did, boom, pulled out the rug from underneath me and I went to prison. That's the silver bullet. I was falsely arrested twice to never see my kids. How dare the judge do this to me?
I know. And for the audience, I mean, Mary, what you're doing is incredible work. Everything that you say is true. And I mean, we can't get any louder in what it is that you're trying to achieve. However, we
Truth,
need
justice.
We need to step it back. And that's where I feel I come in, because we need to start making decisions before it gets to that point. Once you get
Yes,
to the point of where you're at, you're already in it. And I'm very surprised you can even stand doing what you're doing, seeing all the abuse, watching all the injustice happen. We need to
it's
be
hard.
making decisions like, when you're getting married, don't go through the statutory system. When you're having a baby, don't have the baby at the medical system. Do not send your kids through the school. I mean, every single institution that we use is comprised of the law, and its justice system is governing our right and wrong behaviors. So
Right.
our only solution to get out of this power pyramid of control is to just opt out of it completely. And then
Well,
what
you
does
know,
that mean?
Sheena,
Yeah.
you ask how I do this. It's for my children. My future grandchildren are at stake. My children, my adult children, after 19 years, are so psychologically abused. They suffered body dysmorphia, mental health issues. They even told the judge they're suffering from depressions. They're suicidal. They can't sustain a healthy relationship with anyone, not even themselves. They're poor. They're lonely. These are adults that were taken from me, and they're crying this in front of a judge, Justice Caraccia, during my trial in 2021. These kids had to go up there after 19 years and trash me. They suffered a psychotic episode as adults. Now, who wants my son knowing that this is how he has to deal with his issues from being taken from the family, by the family court, to be abused further by his father? And I have to sit there and watch. So I do it for my future grandchildren. They don't have children yet that I know of, but two of my daughters are missing. I haven't heard from them since the trial in 2022.
Yeah.
Where are
And
they?
can we just point out as well that you are working for the system when all this happened? Look at what happened. You, as an employee of the system, you got chewed out and spat out, and there was no protection for you. Even when you worked for the system, even you're a
Yes,
government employee, you should have had top-notch support here. But again, we need to understand, even the whole notion of presidencies, all of it, the whole entire, it's all an illusion. We need to learn how to live outside of that illusion, and
right,
start to make decisions before these issues happen, because they will
right.
happen. It's been
Well,
designed to happen this way.
and that's why we are here, because I mean, I'm not someone that got taken away because I was a drug addict,
Yeah.
alcoholic, but I was accused of it.
Yeah.
I was treated like someone on the street fighting addictions when I didn't have addictions. So someone on the street that has no addictions, they'll get their child because they don't have money. They don't have a home. They don't have assets. They have nothing. But here I'm a decent mother, loving mother that traveled with the military for 30 almost years and
Yes.
working for them to serve and protect in a uniform, and I
Yes.
get kicked to a curb. So it could
No.
happen to anybody. And this is why I'm saying, doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, they're going to break you down.
That's right.
And
And sorry, on that note, I mean, Mary, all of the CPS, all of the foster child, all of the third party government agents that help through the divorce process or the court process, they're all for profit, and they're all designed, once again, to break down the family unit. And they get
yeah,
incentivized for pulling kids out of the home. And I have interviewed quite a few people, but specifically one of them, Rachel, she's got an organization that is exposing this inside of the school with the whole gender topic that's rolling out. This CPS situation, the medical kidnapping, when you take your kid in and have a baby and refuse any kind of medical intervention. I mean, the system, we'll call it the system, has been designed to steal, to kill, and to harm humans. And on the note of the child trafficking, 8 million kids go missing a year worldwide.
Yes.
8 million kids go missing each year.
They killed my child. They had no reason to. They said she wouldn't live past 5. Well, let me have had the 5 years and let me watch, nurture her and love her until then. But they took her at 34 weeks. Like, what kind of human does that?
They're not human. This is the
They're
whole
not
point.
human.
They are not.
They're not.
You know what you're talking about, Epstein's Island and all of this rape and pedophilia that's coming out? They are not human. The people
They're
at
not.
the top of the triangle. You know, when you're in the jungle and you're in nature and you see a tiger kill a mouse, or let's say a tiger kill a kitten. A tiger and a kitten, they look the same. They got 4 legs, they got eyes, but one is very, very different than the other. And that's what we need to look at the humans on the planet. All the people that are, or not all, but 90% of the people that are presidents, 90% of the people that are in the court system. And as you boil it down to the lower levels on this pyramid, it's narcissism that we are up against. And that takes personal empowerment from every single person to identify, is this person a narcissist? Are these tactics what normally happens when you're with a narcissist? Is this gaslighting? Is this flying monkeys? Is this lie? Once we start to understand about these different behavior patterns, the different attachment styles, we start to understand who the enemy is and how they're using this against us, we will start to make better decisions.
Yes.
And knowledge is everything. If I knew now what I knew with my failed marriage, I would have never left the marriage in the way I did. I would have called
Me neither.
lawyer. I would have called support or somebody like me who helps people through this. Because once you're in it, you can't see the field through the, or whatever that's the forest through the trees.
Yeah, the thick of it. I did that. I got a lady lawyer, but I was convinced to drop it, and he would go to marriage counseling with me after 25 years. He refused, but soon as I drew up the paper. So I did. I thought, I didn't want to wreck the family, but I'm giving him one more chance.
Yeah.
And he was having an affair with his secretary.
Yeah.
And, you could only put up with so much of that. Yeah. But we went to marriage counseling. I forgave him, whatever. We moved on. But during the marriage counseling classes, it was where he literally set me up, had me falsely arrested.
Well,
that's the hard part. You're trying to put it together. So I'm my question is, Andy, 47 something years together, I'm sure you had ups and downs, and Sheena, to make the difference between, is it better to leave or better to stay? I mean, this is a hard question right now, because had I stayed, I would not have been alive. I may not be here, because it escalated to that, where they were going to kill me from my house, my home, and my children. Yeah. I had to dodge a knife. And then he called the police and had me falsely arrested, saying he feared his life because I uttered a death threat. But he's got a knife in his hand. Mm-hmm. But all I did was call 911. Mm-hmm. I feared my life. But he dropped the knife and ran. I hung up. Yeah. I get arrested 2.5 hours later while he took the 16-year-old shopping. He used the child with bipolar, who just got diagnosed with bipolar. Left the other 2 with me and told the police he took them all out of the house because he feared their lives. Mm-hmm. Yet two officers, the door was open by both my 18-year-old and a 15-year-old. Mm-hmm. They didn't fear their lives with me. Mm-hmm. They didn't even know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And then after I was arrested, went to jail that night, never got to go home again, the scenarios started happening. They were brainwashing the kids. This mm-hmm. is a serious issue right now, because these children never saw me ever do whatever they said I was doing. And now this is false allegations are following them to accuse somebody else. The justice system is relying on these children to accuse someone else of doing the same thing, if not worse.
Yes.
They're leading them to murders, to suicides, to murder-suicides, even to steal the kids, to use the same scenario we went through. I've been watching it for 60 years.
Yes. And on that note, narcissism turns into psychopathy, and this is a
Yes.
learned behavior. So going back to your point, I mean, you were with him for 25 years too long, in my opinion. I mean, no offense to your marriage, but we have to understand that narcissistic abuse and narcissistic people are wired differently.
Yes.
They do not have the same empathy as us. They do not have the same capacity to process emotion or any other of the regular things that you would have in a marriage or a friendship. And so I didn't know anything about narcissism. I'm sure you didn't know anything about narcissism. Now that I know about narcissism, I would do things very, very different. And it's about getting this knowledge out to people who are in marriages, who are in relationships, who are having babies right now. If I saw somebody that was pregnant with a narcissist, nope, do not go through that. Unfortunately, we are going to have to make new decisions. We can't be relying on others for our safety.
Right.
And this is a very hard pill to swallow. I
But
mean, how
you know,
scary is that to not be able to you have to rely solely on yourself
right.
for protection.
That's right. But quickly to say, I knew what I was getting into. I was forced into it. I was trafficked into a marriage.
Wow. Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to explain, how arranged marriages are. I mean, this is all what's happening. But I was forced into a marriage to stay silent from what happened 3 years prior. I was raped at 18. I had to marry the rapist in order to live. I got thrown over a cliff if I told anybody this. I've been saying this now, recently. It helped me to heal, to bring out to other girls, that's not love. Rape is not love. And that's what he tried to convince me of. Now he's trying to convince the children that I don't love them and that, this is how alienation works, because he was so obsessed. But I wrote to him. I told him, stay away from me for 3 years.
Yeah.
He sent back those letters when my trial began in 2018. I don't understand if it was him or someone else in the family that sent back letters I wrote him in 1978 after I was raped. To stay away. You're abusive. You're this. I mean, I had it so well written that I had to fear my life as I wrote the letter to say, I'm still here. I'm a person, but you can't date me. I cannot, and I was forced into it.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
they
can
don't
you
leave you
imagine?
alone. They don't leave you alone.
Yeah.
This is
You were
what
on
I'm
your
trying to
own.
say. Yeah, you're
Sorry,
on your own, but they won't leave you alone.
That's
Right?
right.
Yeah. So that's
And you
the
were on
danger
your
sign.
own too. I mean,
Yeah.
how scary were you? I can only imagine you being scared and then you making decisions because you were in fear. And
No
then
police, no teacher helped me,
Right.
not even my own parents. My parents pushed me to him. Oh, that he's a good guy because he joined the army. He joined the army because he was running away.
Yeah.
So that he didn't have to,
Yeah.
be whatever. It's really strange how, the army they run to as well, because they're seeking some kind of validation. They were never loved as a child.
That's
His
true.
father was taken he was 9 months old, never to have a father. And then all of a sudden at 14, he gets a stepfather. He didn't know how to do the transition because he never had male figures. He was neglected. So he gravitated to my family, convincing them after he raped me that he was a good man. No. When it starts off abusive, it's going to end up, you're either dead or alive. And that's what I had to do. Marry him, because then the threats came to kill my family, my little brother. He killed his own daughter.
Wow.
his own daughter. He didn't want her. He did not want her. And he said, if I don't kill it, he will leave me penniless and homeless, and the military will not support me or the baby. Yeah. Or like it was devastating, those words that are when I was putting her to rest. Those are the words that come to me. Your father didn't love you. Because it was easy for them not to feel.
Yeah.
Right? This was 38 years ago, and I still feel the day that I lost her.
Yeah.
And when we lose our children to parental alienation, knowing they're out there, they're suffering, mommy, please. And, we have to read between the lines when they send us all these nasty messages.
Yeah.
I know my daughter, she says, what, you think I'm a prostitute or something? What, you think my father brainwashed me? What, you think, you think? Well, yeah, we know what's going on. So that was her cry of help. But yet I can't reach out to her.
And this is generational abuse. These
Yeah.
people at the top of the power pyramid they're attacking the humans, and we just don't know that this is happening, and we don't know what we don't know, but it is happening. And until we start to make different decisions, until we start to understand, okay, this is what's going on.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm so sorry that you went through that, Mary, because I can just imagine.
It's hard. It's hell. But I'm here to educate so that people can see that your child is not writing because they hate you.
Yeah.
They're not saying those bad words to you because they hate you. They're letting you know what they're going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need to educate the judges. We need to bring these I brought these messages to the judge in the trial.
No.
And when she saw it, like my one daughter at 29 years old told me to go kill myself like I was intended to on social media. Yeah. That's not my child saying it. It's her father.
Yeah.
Like really?
The judges are not on our side. I don't know.
No.
I mean, I understand the game being played inside the judiciary system. They know the game that's being played, but nobody that's going through there has no idea. And if you do, like when I was doing my parental alienation stuff and the woman was horrible to me, I stood in my rights. I knew exactly the game that was going on. And that's why they did this to me. They targeted me with domestic violence, that I'm a violent person, and that I had to separate from my daughter for 3 years. And they did this because I was exposing them.
Yes.
I was exposing the situation. And then that they have the power because they control the law. They control the cops. They control the lawyers. They control the whole process after, the order of the court. It is a self-perpetuating system that's working as designed. The goal is to impact the human species and the family unit and to devolve us so that we are reliant on the system. And that system, unfortunately, is becoming a new system. We're moving into new changes here on the planet. And we need to learn about what this system is and how this impacts us and our human rights and our children, because they are after the children with this new civilization that they're building. And if we don't take our power back and learn to say no and understand what narcissism is inside of the family unit, we're not going to bring our families back together again, which is our goal right now. Is number one should be our family unit and our happiness.
And our community is the people that are the ones that know what's happening. So we got all these groups that are, we need to reunite the groups instead of opening millions of little groups, because if we can all share that, unity, we can bombard the court system by saying, look at all of us. You cannot say that mom did that because you're telling us that 10 million other moms did the exact same thing to get punished for the same over and over. They're running out of punishment, or not punishment, but accusations, false allegations. They're all using like a script now, right? We could see it. But why can't these judges? Because it's money. It's all about their money. They're
running deep. They know the game being played. The game is this? I mean, every person that goes through that court system is, first of all, money, but second of all, somebody that's going to be controlled because we are
Yes.
slaves to them. And have you ever heard a judge order the person around about how they have to be inside of their own relationship? I didn't go through the court system with my daughter. I don't need somebody to tell me how to be with my daughter. I was perfectly a wonderful mom.
Exactly.
I didn't abuse her. I'm not a violent person. I don't need a judge to tell me how to mother my daughter. But because I got sucked in and it was brand new for me, so I had to let my daughter go, and that's what I'm dealing with now. But we all need to make brand new decisions, and I would love to talk to Andy though. I'm sorry, Andy. I've been yapping away, but I'm sure you have felt this in one way or another in your
Well, I have in various ways, and you're quite correct. It's people aren't naive if they think that the court system is their friend and they're going to get positive results from it. You're quite correct, but it's given me some good ideas to how we can expand our parental alienation topic. I've been wanting to do webinars on this topic for a long time, so I think it's necessary. But let me tell you, just because I've been with the same woman for 40 years, it's not easy. You got to have staying power, and nobody in my family has been in a relationship as long as I have. None. My parents, my sister. So you've got to have the staying power, and it's not an easy road. And now it's even tougher than what I'm dealing with. Mary knows about the challenges. So you've got to make up your mind. Either you're in it or you're not. And but I think
And let the
Sheena,
person go. If
that's
one
right.
step, yeah,
Either
that's
you go and let it go, or you stay with it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
And
Andy, if you stay with it and you stand up for yourself, I mean, I don't know who's in your family, but it sounds like there might be some narcissism. You stick up to it.
no, I was just going to talk about that, Sheena. It's not narcissism, but you can have personality disorder that
Yeah.
makes it look like it might be, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
Personality disorder is, I think, a subsection of all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That looks like it, but it's not. They really
Yeah.
care. It comes
Yeah.
back down to that.
Yeah. I mean, whether we're talking about bipolar disorder or narcissism or dismissive avoidant, we all have to check in with how we treat each other. How do we share consciousness when we're in our same home? Is there one person telling the other person what they can and can't do? Or, we have to share consciousness. And that's where we need to get to. People need to pull their egos back, stop telling people what to
That's
do.
right. You can
And
control
be on the same page with the children. You can't pit the
Right.
children against one parent. When the one says no, it should be no with the other one as well.
Yes.
Not just, oh, don't tell your mother or don't tell your father, because then you'll never get to do it again.
Yeah.
This is how it all starts, like
Yeah.
early age.
But Mary, I need to. I've got challenges going on all the time. I need to go. It was a thrill to be here with you and with Sheena, and these challenges. Let me ask you one thing before I go, Sheena. I don't know how many years you were married for, but did you know early on that you were in a road to no return? That marriage wasn't going to work, or did you? There must have been early signs that it
Very
wasn't
early.
going to work.
I very quickly, I moved to England to be with him after just knowing him for 6 weeks. And I
Well,
knew
that's sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. That's what these relationships that end up like that, I hate
Yeah.
to say it, and I'm not being negative,
Yeah.
but they're very quick and people jump
Right.
the gun. They don't take the time to
That's
get to
right.
know somebody. I met my wife and we knew each other for 3 years before we got married.
Yeah.
Not 4 months, not 2 months.
Yeah. people need to understand marriage is not what what we've been taught, and they don't know about narcissism. I didn't know anything about narcissism. I didn't know, but I did know I made my bed and now I need to lie in it, because
Yeah.
the mind control behind the marriage. Oh, you don't want to get divorced. That's a shameful thing.
Well, that's
We
what
shouldn't
I
even
was
be getting
told
married.
too.
We
Yeah.
shouldn't even be getting married, you guys.
That's how I got convinced to stay with him. Either he was going to kill himself, or so your family would be so ashamed calling you a Catholic because you're leaving me and all this kind of stuff. But yet, when we got married, I lost my Catholic faith because I was bonded into Presbyterian. So in order to get my Catholic faith back for my children, because I baptized them Catholic, we had to get remarried to put them into the next school. We traveled with the military every 4 years. So we went around the world. So every country, every city we went to had different rules. So here we are after 15 years of marriage, we got remarried to be Catholic. When he divorced me, he now divorced me as a Catholic. So you laugh at me when I lost my faith on the day we got married, because the judge, the minister said, I thought he asked me if I was Catholic or what religion I was. I said, oh, I'm Catholic. He goes, oh, no, you just lost, you're bonded, you're Presbyterian. And my ex-husband, like a week after, starts laughing and went, haha, just like that, because he hated Catholics. So when I baptized my children in Europe as Catholic, and they needed to be in another Catholic school, but both of us, one of us had to be Catholic, so we got married, remarried. So now it fell into his lap. So, you know, he was so prejudiced against Catholics and like very racist. And he's raising my children that way now, because my son turned around and says, I want to be Jewish. I want to change my religion to whatever. And I says, well, you know, when you're 18, he's only 10 years old, because he was so convinced that the Jewish or whatever, like all the racism that came out of my ex-husband's mouth it was embedded into the children at a young age, right? So they're growing up to be the exact same. This narcissism leads them to do the school shootings, become psychopaths at a young age. When I was on the trial, I asked Professor Sam Vaknin, I did a video with him, and I said, my kids are going to be put on the trial on the stand after 18 years. Will my children suffer a psychotic episode? And he said, yeah. And sure enough, he did. It's on Zoom trial. He's had his face pushed right up to the camera, ready to kill me. If he could have jumped through just to show off for his father at 34 years old, how are these kids supposed to sustain a healthy life, knowing that he is out there, he wants me dead? Today, I call him at work to wish him a happy birthday or whatever. He hangs up on me.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. Mary shared that with me, and I
You know, it's horrible. These are children I raised for 20 years with love, kindness, respect, but they can't give me any anymore because they're afraid of their predators. And I'm sure the courts have something to do with it, because even their lawyer won't give me email addresses, phone numbers. I asked for it during the trial to his lawyer. We emailed him and he said, oh, I have no contact to the children. Tell Mary and her mother to find other ways of communicating. And it was my mother's 90th birthday, so we wanted their number so my mom could talk to them. Find other ways for Mary and her mother to communicate. But yet, there they are on Zoom. You obviously had their email, but he couldn't give it to me. I mean, so they keep our kids away for life because they're scared of being exposed. You know, my ex-husband and his lawyer, Robert Hawes Law in London, Ontario, and Justice Taylor of London, Ontario, were family related. He was a criminal judge brought into my divorce just for that one time. And my ex's lawyers right out in the middle of courtroom before the judge came out and said it's going to be an easy case. Justice Taylor and I had a family Christmas dinner last night, and we discussed the case, and the father's going to get it's obvious that the father's going to get the kids. And throws his leg up on the table because he slipped and hurt his leg and had a split. But yet they can't give me as a disabled mom a seat to sit, but he could plop his leg up on the table, right? And I'm thinking, you're so disrespectful. And he was just a young guy. Both my lawyers and him were just young, just starting out, 1 year each.
That's
And then to make a long story short, sure enough, when the judge came out, he said exactly what this lawyer was saying. And this is why that one courtroom reporter gave me my transcripts, because she heard everything this guy said and belittled me in the courtroom. Now, you can't have conflict of interest like that and then tell everybody in the courtroom that you had dinner with the judge. And a week later, that judge got promoted to supernumerary judge 20 minutes away from me. And it's like, and then I find out the other day he did a case in my little town. What's he doing following my life? Well, you know what? Good, because he ruined everything that my children could have had. I brought myself up from the grave, basically, to being here today, to help others do the same thing. But I want others to have their children with them as they're doing it, because for me to survive without my children, I had my family that at least they supported me. My 7 brothers, they helped me every step of the way. But now I'm slowly losing them because they're all, struggling with health issues, or one of my brothers got murdered, another one, got kidnapped, and another one got a heart attack. I mean, we're getting old. I don't want my kids to find me in my deathbed or in the grave. This is not find me. They know where I am. I want them to come to me before that. Knock on my door. This is what I raised you for. And this is what judges have to understand, that they destroyed all that. And the lawyers, if you're grow balls, people.
Yeah.
Keep the kids together. Just because you're jealous of the relationship, so what? Get over it. Go get help. We did.
Yeah.
Here we are.
It's about everybody taking back their power from their partners, from their spouses, from the system, from the law. And that's really the only answer here, taking back our powers from the education system, from the medical system, from media, everything. Everything is being designed to dumb us down and to make us weak and sick and confused.
Yes. And
I hopefully
commit suicide and die.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they want. They want us gone.
Yeah.
We're too strong for them.
We are.
We are the light. There is always light coming through that darkness. And, just because they're in black coats, they got to watch, every move we make.
Yeah. That's
because that light's going to break them. And here we are. What better person? To get on that note, we're almost at the hour. I want you to give us a rundown on how you can help people today if they want to reach out to you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for today and for allowing me to just get the information out, because the more people can understand this situation on the planet, the easier it's going to be. Although it's very shocking and it's not something that you want to really digest, the sooner you understand it, the easier it's going to be. And I am a humanitarian. I'm a common law sheriff. I use my badge to help people. And I do. I know natural law versus the statutory system, which is what we're using when we go through the court system. I know my rights. I help people understand their rights. And now I've moved away from investigative journalist work covering the New World Order into private investigator inside relationships to dissect trauma and abuse and transform that into empowerment. And I have a couple of packages on my website where I want to help you. I don't want to sit and counsel you. I don't want to help you through the court system like what you're doing, Mary. I want to, before then, I want to be almost like a McKinsey friend, where I am your your support to identify where abuse is, to identify where narcissism is, and to start to take the steps towards safety. Because you're not going to win with a narcissist. You're going to have to start to make new decisions. And I have packages for identifying abuse inside marriages and also identifying abuse inside of your matrix reality. So there is abuse when you're, signing up for your driver's license and getting your mortgage and your credit cards and your school and your medicine. Everything is on one level or another abusive. And so I help people identify that abuse and then take the steps towards safety and personal empowerment.
Wonderful. That's so good of you to do that.
Yeah.
And so you do this in the UK. Do you help people worldwide?
Yes,
Because of,
I help people from all around the world. I left Australia in 2022, and since then I've been on the road using my sheriff role and my sheriff hat to help the farmers through these agendas. We have a couple of agendas in the war that we're dealing with right now. So I've been on the road. I went to the US for 6 months. I've been in the UK for 18 months traveling, and I'm hoping to help any person that they might not even be going through the divorce process, but they might feel uncomfortable in their marriage. They might feel uncomfortable going to a counselor or couples counseling. They just need a friend to identify whether or not this is being abusive. I can point out narcissism. I can point out gaslighting. And what I do is I help you with your text messages that come through and your situations that happen in the moment, in that moment. People need somebody to help them see clearly, help them make the right decisions on what do I do when I reply? What shall I do this weekend? How shall I handle this for the next week? And that's what I want to do is like your Mackenzie friend in life to help you make the decisions to walk away from abuse so you can empower yourself and not have to call the cops, not have to call a lawyer. We should really be relying on our families right now through this and not the government agencies.
No. The government just empowers the abusers
Yeah.
because it is a criminal's world out there. I mean, I had a situation just quickly that almost 2 years ago this May, I got assaulted and I videotaped my own assault.
Oh, wow.
And he only got a 12-month peace bond. This is a man that stood double size of me, tall, wide, abusing a woman in public property in a church, and the Crown attorneys just fluff it off, and he gets 12-month probation or peace bond, and also threatened on the court, the Zoom court, threatened that I had something to worry about, that I should fear my life, and the judge didn't do anything. His peace bond comes up in January. Do I have to fear my life now again by someone else? And it's caught on camera. That's the thing. I'm filming someone abused me, and I didn't mean to. I was just videotaping for someone else, and it turned out that these abusers just jump in your way. They jump in like a frog jumps. You have you can't even think what just happened. Like, no, you're blinded, you're lost, and you're startled. How do you react to someone like this, right? I'm glad I had the camera on, because nobody would have believed it. And hundreds of people stood there watching this. Children,
but
in
again,
a churchyard.
The justice system didn't do anything as
No,
designed.
as designed. Yeah. What am I supposed to do now? Like allow an abuser to come and kill me now?
Yeah.
Is that what the government wants to happen? So they fill up the prisons again with disturbed people. Get them help. They didn't even offer to get him any help. Just a 12-month peace bond. Like, really? And the fact of it is, he was hiding something, and it came out that he alienated a grandmother from her own grandchild, and he's raising that grandchild as a son, screaming at me, "Stop taking pictures of my son." I wasn't taking pictures. I was videotaping you, dude. but I didn't do it on purpose. You jumped in my way. So, this is how these alienated children have to live, knowing that that man wasn't his father and he has to call him father, but yet that's my grandma out there. And this is so confusing to these kids, right? So how are they going to grow up to be healthy? So,
Yeah.
but last words, Sheena.
I was just
What do
reading
you?
Jessica's comment. I'm sorry, Jessica. I'm just
Oh,
reading that
here, you want to
now.
read it? Okay, here.
Yeah, just your mother going through with it when the daughter is globally development challenged, and I have OPP enforcement to have her returned. The order was made on. I still have not been able to have her returned. I'm sorry, Jessica. I mean, if I had a penny for every single situation like this, we wouldn't be here. And Jessica, the OPP people aren't they have no rights to your children at all. Nobody has the rights to take away your child. And yeah, I'm sorry that you're going through that.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
So many millions. What is it? 22 million in the United States right now. We are about, I don't know, 20 million here in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and they say Canada is more corrupt than the United States or the UK. I mean, hey, I'm proud to be a Canadian, but don't steal my children.
Yeah.
Don't make me out to be, the worst person in the world for profit. You're profiting.
Yeah.
You took my home, government. Like, really? What the heck?
Mary, this problem is huge in Australia, in the US, in Canada, in the UK, in Spain. I mean, this is a global pandemic, a real big problem. And that's why I say we need to pull it back. We need to raise our frequency to see this from a different perspective. And we need to start to empower ourselves in these relationships before having babies, before walking down that aisle. Understand how these people operate, and then we'll resolve the issue.
Absolutely. That's what I say. You have to have parenting classes. You have to have marriage classes. I mean, didn't we have to go through that back in the 60s and the 70s, 80s? I did 9 months, but they didn't teach you about him being a narcissist. But the thing was, the minister said, I don't think you should marry him at the end of the course. And I had no choice. And when he said that to my ex-husband at that time, he was fuming. So they hold all these bad things, negative things that people say to them. And that's why we should never take them in counseling with us, because they hold grudges and we get punished for it for the rest of our lives because someone else said, don't marry him.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be marrying him, but don't tell him that. But we have Automatics here. Hi, Autumn. She is on LinkedIn with us. I don't know if you've connected with Autumn, but she has a voice. She's very vocal as well. And we're so grateful for everything that Autumn does out there. There's so many great advocates, and you just have to latch on to someone that knows what they're doing and that will be there to support you. But I have to say too, don't rely on your advocate, because your advocate is going through the same thing you're going through. And if that advocate can't reach out to help you, don't slander them. There's a lot of reasons why, some of these advocates have to walk away, or why they can't answer you because they can't give you legal advice. They can't, they're not therapists, but what they can do is guide you and direct you into paperwork and all that kind of stuff. We do that. We go to constituents' offices. We try and do what we can. So never trash your advocate out there, because they may be the only resource you have left to get your children back. So,
Thank you
yeah.
very much, Mary, for letting me talk and share my information. And if there's anybody in the audience that wants more information, my website is sheenaalexandra.com.
Okay, let me write that down. Sheena, all one word?
Yeah, sheenaalexandra.com.
Okay, here we go. so that people can see it and contact you. Well,
you,
thank you so much, Sheena. Again, don't jump off yet. Thank you for, coming out to, do part 2 and keep us informed on everything you do. People need kind of, to get in touch with you because this is a serious issue. And I'd like to thank Andy Martens for joining us again today on Let's Talk Real Talk. We are now at 12:35 Canada time. So it's still early. You're getting more into dinner time, I guess. So everybody out there, alienated parents, grandparents, children, don't give up. If you've got a bad lawyer out there, get rid of them. If you've got a judge that's unfair, put in a complaint right away. Have a recording device with you. Voice recorders are allowed in courtrooms. They're trying to tell you it's not. You know what? Defy them. Get them to show you where it says you can't bring in the Constitution or whatever you have as evidence that you can bring a camera in. And we highly recommend that you do, just for your own notes, and just, because there's a lot of, off the record stuff, or, the judge will stop the transcribers to say, stop typing, no, put everything on record and be accountable. And, transparency is very important. So everyone out there, thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Real Talk on Parental Alienation with Molly and myself. She's like falling asleep. She loves taking naps here. But thank you from Ontario, Canada, everyone. And Sheena, I hope you have a great day in the UK. My brother just got married out there a couple weeks ago. News to us, but congratulations to my new sister-in-law. She's in London, England somewhere, and now they're going to do their paper to get her over. And you know how it all goes, right?
I've done that
twice
in my life before.
A lot of work. So, but anyways, thanks again, Sheena. Thank you so much.
Mary. Thank
Good day,
you,
everybody. Thank you.